Geek!
Yay!
Hello!
Hello.
The shorter version this time.
Well,
Yeah.
short-ish.
Gotta mix it. Gotta keep them wanting more.
That's right, buddy.
That's always been my philosophy in life. Keep them wanting more.
Oh,
By
good.
giving them so little
How's that
that
worked
they
out for
have
you
no
so
choice.
far?
I don't actually know because I've never followed up.
Sounds about right.
I think so. So, guess what?
Merry New Year!
Happy New Year. In this country, we say Happy New Year.
Thank you for correcting my English, which stinks. I am Nanja Ibuko, exchange student from Cameroon. Happy New Year!
Beef jerky time.
Oh, boy. It's a new year.
It's a new year and it's already off to a pretty bad start for yours truly.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, sorry about that. Yep. That's it.
This was supposed to be a better year, guys.
Well, now you have something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Sorry.
Well, okay. Before all that happened, how's everybody's holiday been? Christmas and New Year's.
It's been very nice.
You know?
Yeah, it was nice. It was good.
That's
Gotta
good.
chill with the fam.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay! Was
Yeah.
Santa good to you guys?
I got out of jury duty, so yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry, Santa has no.
Christmas came early for me. But yeah, no, you guys still believe in Santa, right?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not
Why
alone.
not? Why
'Cause,
not?
They make fun of me when
Well, I mean, there are many reasons to make fun of you. That's just one of them.
I don't want our younger listeners to, question whether Santa is real.
Well,
Santa's
first
real,
off,
folks.
we shouldn't have younger listeners.
Well, this is this is 2020. Lots of kids listen to things they're not supposed to be
Oh,
listening to.
That's
Watching stuff, doing stuff.
Well, it's not like we work blue, so
That's true.
Yeah.
We try not to.
I like to get it out beforehand.
Yeah.
In the old days, I would just look at G and I say, "G, get ready to censor this." Our sponsors were not too happy about that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of G.
What do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
He's still trying.
Yep. That's why he's not here, folks.
Good luck.
Good luck in your world overtaking ventures. That made no sense, what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it did.
I don't know.
Who knows what makes sense and what doesn't?
Maybe I'm
Not this guy.
I mean,
Maybe
even
I'm-
though he's Korean, good luck in the year of the dog. Maybe
Maybe I'm still drunk.
some cross pollination might help. I don't know.
Well, on that note,
I guess it is the year of the dog, right?
I have no
I
idea.
have no idea what
Yeah.
it is. So I'll say
Sure.
yes.
It is possible.
Yeah.
If only I had an internet machine at my fingertips to look it up.
That would be too easy.
It would be.
We don't do things the easy way here.
Yeah.
No.
We should, but we don't.
Well, before we started our holiday festivities, the festivities started at the movie theater for us.
Yep.
So
Yeah, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
far, far away.
In Monterey, California.
Down in Monterey.
No. So the last Star War,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Potentially. Most likely.
Now, I guess we should say, for those that haven't seen it,
Spoilers. Yeah.
You know, for
Things will be said
for
that
a
you can
while. So
unhear.
fast forward for a little bit. Just keep hitting that skip button until it doesn't sound like we're talking about a War of Stars.
Snoke really was Jar Jar this whole time. Some fan theories came true, though. Just not as dumb as the Sith Jar Jar thing.
Yeah.
Because that was really stupid.
Well,
And those who
yes.
bought into that, I'm sorry. But it was stupid.
And no, C-3PO did not get high.
Or did he?
He got a Sith high.
So I think right off the bat, just to say, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I've gone back and I've seen it twice now.
I tried to see it a second time, but,
Oh, right.
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
So this is Christmas. And what have you done?
Nothing, apparently.
Yeah.
I liked parts of it.
Okay.
I really wish there was so allegedly there was an hour, give or take, cut out of this movie.
Right.
And I really left the theater either thinking I really wanted an extra an hour or so or an extra movie. And I was reading an interview with Chris Terrio, the screenwriter, who was basically saying he really wished there was a second movie just to flesh everything out, which is how I felt. I really wanted the story to be kind of fleshed out.
Right
Yeah.
about.
Much like the last season of Game of Thrones, it's kind of how I felt. I just wish there was more time dedicated to this story.
Well, yeah, and I think it was harder for them to be able to do that because of the fact that they didn't have the second one to continue their story where they could wrap it up in a third.
Oh yeah, totally.
So they had to wrap it up,
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah, which sucked.
Yes, it
So,
did. It did.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But for those that are that haven't figured out, we are talking about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Some people might not have gotten the last Star Wars.
The last Star Wars. What are they talking about?
never heard of that movie.
That part of Space Force?
Space Force.
Nobody
knows what that even is.
But since it came out, it's just been like the holidays have just been like a big fight on the internet about this movie.
Yeah.
It was either about the story people were fighting about, just you like it and I don't like it, which means that you're awful, depending on which side you're tweeting from. Or my character that I like didn't get enough, or it just I don't know. People just, I feel like they just started fighting over the dumbest reasons.
That is the internet. For
I
you.
decided just to poke the bear anytime I could. I know some people that were, I hated it, blah, blah, blah. So, are we talking about The Last Jedi? Is that what we're talking about right now?
Well, it's been kind of funny too to see those that absolutely hated The Last Jedi when it came out. Talked about how much they hated it. Talked about how much Rian Johnson ruined the franchise, ruined their childhoods even worse than George Lucas did. And then this movie comes out, and now they're singing the praises of Rian Johnson and how much they loved The Last Jedi. It's
Yes, I've noticed that as well.
It's
I
like,
didn't.
make up your mind.
On Twitter, Twitter became and I guarantee you, most of these people hated the movie when it first came out.
Yeah.
But now, with a new perspective, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
like, oh my God! And Rian Johnson is terribly mistreated by the fans. And look at the things. Look at all the positive things he says about the fans. I'm like, he's been
He was
trash
one of the
talking.
biggest S-talkers of the group. Are you kidding
seriously?
me? I don't think so,
But
buddy.
Who I really feel bad for in all this, though, is John Boyega.
Well, but I feel
One of the main characters
honestly,
in general.
I feel sorry for all the cast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Really, I mean, they're pretty much getting blamed for anything that people don't like. They'll just point fingers at anybody. If you were in the movie, then it's your fault.
Well, it started with Kelly Marie Tran when
Right.
The Last Jedi came out. I mean, like, people were really
was
putting it
rough.
on her, and I'm like, she's an actress doing her job.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I liked her in the movie, even though we've talked about it before. Yeah, her storyline was forced, and it was really the part of, I shouldn't say her storyline, the storyline that her character was involved with, I didn't care for. Her performance, I really, really enjoyed. I really like her, but I just, I felt that in The Last Jedi, I felt like that whole Canto Bite thing, just, there was no reason for it. the love story was really forced because there was nothing to allude that there was some sort of a romantic thing happening. It's just, oh, here it is.
I mean, personally, I was from the day one. I was much more intrigued by the idea of a romantic relationship between Rey and Finn,
Right.
than I ever was between Finn and Rose. Or I'm not a Reylo. I'm really not.
I get it.
That really seemed forced to me.
Yeah.
It really seemed like the fans really wanted it, so they
Right.
gave it to him.
I thought Finn and Poe would have been better.
So does Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
been fighting for that for a while.
Yeah, I
but,
mean, that'd been more interesting.
but people were really pissed off about that lesbian kiss scene in the movie. So
Yeah, I
you
don't
can
get-
imagine the two main characters
Is in the background. What do you care?
I mean,
Right.
no one should care at all. But
Yeah.
here we are. People bitch about the stupidest things.
But anyways, to go back to then what you were talking about with Kelly Mary Tran, so you had that, and again, like I was saying a moment ago, the people that absolutely hated that in the movie in Last Jedi, now suddenly they're upset because she wasn't featured more in this movie, and I'm like, well, which one is it?
Well, you know why? They came out and said the CGI was terrible in the scene she was in, so they cut a bunch of stuff because it was supposed to be her and Leia.
Yeah, I read about that.
And they cut a ton of stuff, they said.
But I'll say this, like between this and Rogue One, they just cannot CGI convincing Carrie Fisher for me.
I
Like
thought
the
I
flashback scene. I thought Luke looked like it looks like a young Mark Hamill, and then Leia looked like a video game character, just like in just like in
little.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, and it's unfortunate, but we've seen and heard about, entire characters being completely removed from a movie because the scenes just didn't work or the movie just needed to be It happens. It happens in Hollywood. Your roles end up on I'm on many cutting room floors, which I'm fine with.
Yeah. There is I'm just going to call it a belief at the moment because we don't know for a fact this is actually the way things were, but like I mentioned before, I got exposed to some of the leaks earlier in the year. I've now gone back and reread stuff and read stuff that I avoided the first time around. And there is a strong belief that the character who was the name of the character, they meet them on Endor, the other stormtroopers.
Oh, yes.
What's her name? It starts with a J.
Oh, the
Jenica or something like that. Well, the belief is that her character was the Lando mentioned a missing daughter, right?
Right.
Okay, the belief is that her character is the daughter that was taken from Lando, which is supported by Lando's, at the very end saying, let's go find out who you are, right?
Right.
And there were leaks that that was actually explained in the movie, and the belief is that some of those scenes were completely cut out.
Yeah, I don't know if those were included in the movie, but apparently in the novel version of it, it's very matter of fact that, this is his daughter.
Yeah.
Because he, in the novel, that conversation the two of them are having right there at the end of the battle is he mentions that he had a daughter who was taken, at this age.
Yeah.
And then she mentions, about her, and you pretty much figure, that is his daughter.
Yeah.
So the novel pretty much says yes.
implied.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like I said, until we know for sure that was actually in the if there's like a deleted scene, it's a strong belief right now that is the case. And when you look at stuff like that cut out, but then like Dominic Monaghan's character, who I don't even know what his name is, was given way more screen time for a character that just was introduced and didn't even need to be there.
Yeah, the background.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
it's
like this random rebel number 2.
I believe IMDb has him listed as Captain Exposition.
ancestor to Basil Expedition from the Austin Powers movies. But I mean,
Because he is
that's what he was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sith cloning
Yeah.
or Sith technology cloning.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was the whole thing with Richard Grant's character where he was a former Imperial officer, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then you see him again.
Let's bring him in the last 45 minutes of the movie and then really push this character. And it's like, why couldn't we have a little more backstory? He's a lot more interesting than Gleason's character as Hux.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I mean, frankly, I think a better actor.
Yeah.
But, that
True.
just didn't really get explored fully. I mean, we saw
He does make
him,
a pretty good whiny little bee, but,
Yeah.
But
he did a good job as that. So.
True.
Yeah. I wanted to see more with Kerry Russell's character and Poe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good dynamic between the two of them because you instantly and it's very difficult with a helmet on that she was able to communicate so much about who she was, to him and to the audience. Yeah. And you could feel the connection between I thought you could feel the connection between their characters, and I really like that. But you're right,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded seeing her character more.
Yeah, so it's one of those.
Could have
things
gone with some more Babu Frik.
Oh, Babu is
man.
the man.
like just when you thought Baby Yoda was the cutest thing ever, actually still is.
Yeah.
But Babu Frik is competing for that title.
Disney Plus series
Baby Yoda and Babu Frik
on the road,
finding out what Baby Yoda's name is.
Yeah.
And here's something interesting that was, not necessarily revealed, but people discovered this week, is the person who did the voice for Babu, Shirley Henderson. She was in the Harry Potter films. She was Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny.
The best line is C-3PO. That's one of my oldest friends. That had me going, man. That had me rolling.
3PO was funny in this movie.
He was. When the movie was over, it
For
occurred
a Brit,
to me.
that's unusual.
Now, I'm one of the people that's of the camp of I actually like the Disney sequel trilogy.
Okay.
We all know I don't like The Last Jedi.
Right.
I liked this movie enough,
Yeah.
and I love The Force Awakens.
Right.
I don't care what anyone says. I love The Force Awakens. So I am the pro Disney Star Wars camp.
As am I.
With some obvious reservations, I've got my complaints, but I mean,
But overall.
yes, I give a thumbs up. Wait, where was I going with this?
I have no idea.
I was reason I was saying this. One of my complaints though is when we look at the three movies, there is a severe lack of R2-D2 in these movies,
Yeah.
and R2-D2 is one of the greatest characters of all time.
He was sad.
But then Luke came. But then they found
He
Luke,
rebooted.
and so why was he still sad?
He's just sad.
Because Luke died.
Yes.
That's sad. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but I mean,
He's a Force Ghost.
I've never liked 3PO. I've always thought 3PO was annoying and obnoxious.
He was.
I did like him in this movie, but yeah, I realized so much 3PO and not nearly enough R2-D2.
Yeah, I could have used some more R2.
Yeah.
So for those that are complaining that Rose wasn't in enough, I wanted more R2.
I wasn't that crazy about, was it Dio, the new one?
I liked him.
He didn't really do much. He was kind of there, but, I would have liked, instead of him, some more R2. Not that much BB-8 stuff in this movie either.
Right.
There was a little bit, but
Yeah.
I really kind of fell in love with BB-8, and I wanted to see more BB-8, but what are you going to do?
Again, how much was on the cutting room floor
I know.
for all of them?
Well, another thing that I guess we'll skip ahead to again, because we're not really talking about this in chronological order. Anyway,
No, we're not.
we finally have in live action, or at least to the best of my knowledge in live action, a yellow lightsaber, right?
Yes.
Rey unveils at the very end her new lightsaber, and I thought to myself, so in The Last Jedi, Anakin's saber, I don't like when people call it Rey's saber, or sometimes they'll call it Luke's saber. It's neither. It's Anakin's saber. Luke used it for a while, and then Rey used it for a while, but it's Anakin's saber. But Anakin's saber gets ripped in half, right? So instead of just building a new lightsaber like she did eventually, she just patched up, and that's what she's using for most of the movie.
Right.
I thought it would have been cooler if the movie started, hey, Rey built, kind of like in Return of the Jedi. Luke's got a new lightsaber. He built it off screen before the movie. I would have thought that would have been cooler to see that in action instead of just at the end she just ignites it and that's it. Because I thought it was a great looking lightsaber.
Which, though, in a sense, is what happened in Jedi, because we did, again, I don't know if they filmed it or not for Rise of Skywalker, but for Jedi, they did film Luke building it, but he cut it out.
Yeah. And it's a cool scene, but it didn't really need to be in there.
No, it didn't. Same thing for this.
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, I thought it would have been cooler to see that in action throughout the whole movie. Because there's just too much blue lightsabers out there, man.
But I think that one of the things that might be meant between having that saber
gets blue
for most of it is that it was, in a sense, him fighting his history.
Mm-hmm.
It's him fighting his history, for his grandfather, for Anakin.
Yeah.
And kind of trying to live up to that. And, finally, that's done at the end. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why that saber stayed in the films, is because that's kind of it's always there.
The Ben Solo story in this movie is my absolute favorite part about the movie. like hands down. And I always thought, from watching The Force Awakens the first time, this was the natural course of things. This was always how it was meant to end for him.
Right.
Maybe not with death, but I always thought there's
redemption.
no point to this character unless there's going to be redemption.
Yeah.
So I loved all that stuff. It
Yeah.
just, I just really would have liked to seen more of that lightsaber in action.
I guess,
Especially, I've been playing a lot of the games a lot lately, and watching a lot of movies, and there's just an overabundance of the blue lightsabers,
Right.
and it gets tired after a while.
I get it.
I love the green saber.
I do too.
It's just like at one point she's holding two lightsabers and they're both blue, and I'm like, come on, man, seriously. But
And also to this movie, jumping around to different things. Of all the sad moments in all the movies, I think that this one delivered probably the most heartbreaking scene in it, which was Chewbacca.
Oh, don't even.
that was one that got to me.
That one,
Honestly,
yeah.
and seeing it a second time it still hit me.
Yeah.
Is to see Chewbacca lose it when he finds out that Leia's passed away.
Yeah.
Is probably for me the most heartbreaking moment in any of the Star Wars films. To see it hit him like that. And again, watching it a second time to really concentrate on his performance, as well, in that moment, is because the first time we see, obviously my eyes are filled with tears the first time we saw it, and you see him drop to his knees. But when you watch it again, you see that they're trying to comfort him, and he's pushing them away. He doesn't want them near him, and that's so real. It's that feeling of that she's gone. That means that his family is gone now. And I like I said, I think that that's probably the most heartbreaking moment and well done scenes in any of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah. I remember them saying they weren't going to kill off Leia, though. I remember that being like Kathleen Kennedy said, we're not going to kill off Leia.
Well, no, wasn't it she said that they weren't going to kill her? They weren't going to do it off screen. They weren't going to just, it happened and we didn't see it. That's what they weren't going to do. They weren't going to just come back and be, oh, by the way, Leia died before this story started. Yeah. They weren't going to kill her off screen.
And then after the movie, I remember I told you guys.
Nice try.
The original plan for Episode 9 was to be a very Leia heavy movie.
Right.
And I really want to know what that story was going to be. We know through interviews that Palpatine was not originally going to be in Episode 9. That was something that when J.J. Abrams came back on board.
Her and Rey.
But I meant like the villain wasn't going to be Palpatine. That was something that when JJ got hired, he had this idea. They went with it.
Right.
And
and I think, from my understanding,
I would assume it's they work towards the redemption of Ben.
Yeah.
Well, I've read some things that one person claimed was in the Colin Trevorrow, or someone who actually I guess wrote one of the treatments for Episode 9, that was not one that Colin Trevorrow was working on. Was this was what was in my treatment. Colin Trevorrow was as far as I know, that was never in it when I was working on the movie. So there is a story out there of what Episode 9 potentially could have been, but we'll never actually know.
I can tell you that there's a lot of story stuff that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, is when JJ came on board for Force Awakens, he had said, and he was very public about it, and it was true, was that he just wanted to do this one movie. And that was it. But he also kind of fleshed out, but this is the story as I see it for this arc. And then we got to Last Jedi, and that arc, if I had a piece of paper, I'd crumble it up and toss it. Yeah. And so him coming back on board for this movie is like, crap, okay, so now I have to try and get to this arc that, I saw it going to. Not that they had all agreed, this is where it's going to go. It was just kind of what he had in his mind. And where he still wanted to see the characters go, he had to figure out a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot of the Leia stuff that was supposed to happen with this one was basically her, like we saw a little bit of her being the Yoda of it. So.
I want to know who was thinking of the continuity for the entire series. For who dropped the ball? Was it Kathleen Kennedy?
I don't know.
Because there didn't seem like there's a huge cohesiveness whatsoever between the films.
But that's the weird thing, is we do know that there is, because I follow a couple of the members of the Lucasfilm story group on Twitter, and they're very, very vocal. They'll flat out deny if someone has a question. They'll go, no, that's not true. They're very active, and these guys, their whole job is to maintain a strong level of continuity between the movies, now the shows, the comics, the video games.
So where was it?
I don't know. That's what I'm getting at. Is there are people who are employed to maintain a sense of continuity. Not even a sense, maintain a strict continuity between all things Star Wars right now, and yet somehow that all happened.
Yeah.
Well, here's the difference is that their job with the story group for Lucasfilm is to keep stuff canon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to keep, unfortunately, like them or not, as an example, Feige oversees the story arc for the Marvel films.
Yeah,
right.
This has got it from A to Z. This is where it's going to go. Even as they're making stuff up as it goes, he still knows, okay, we can do this, but we have to remember that this is going to happen, in story G, and we haven't gotten there yet, so we can set it up over here in story E. And so the Lucasfilm Story Group doesn't do that. They keep things canon within the whole universe, whereas there was nobody from A to B, or to C, with these three movies, saying, here is where it's going to go.
But I mean, one of them was talking recently about the movie, right? Rise of Skywalker and his job. I guess in one of the Darth Vader comics, or I believe one of the Darth Vader comics, there's a moment that implies, or I shouldn't say implies, but fans read into it as Sheev Palpatine using the Force to inseminate. I can't think of Anakin's mom's name. Shmi. And he came out and was very much like, well, no, because of the events of Rise of Skywalker, we were very adamant to make sure that comic book did not even imply that very thing. If it had implied it, I would have removed it from the comic book. So to at least extent, they are involved in the movies as well.
Right, because again, they want to make sure this stuff stays canon.
Yeah. But there still should have been somebody
totally.
that was like, okay, in Force Awakens, they talk about Luke Skywalker was searching for the first Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
He left a map to find him with Lord Sandeca and R2-D2. But in The Last Jedi, he didn't want to be found. He wanted to go to the most unfindable place in the galaxy, paraphrasing him, essentially so he can live alone and die. And it's like, well, that's a major plot contradiction that there should have been someone there that would have you would think one of the guys in the story groups whose job it is to maintain that level of continuity and canon, be like, hey guys, hold on, this doesn't fit because of this. And that's what I'm like so confused about. Like, how did that get by? That's a major plot. That's a major plot contradiction. Right. I don't get how that went by and no one had issue with it, or no one had issue with it that had any control that could have,
I think that's where it comes down to.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning Kathleen, her entire career, she's never involved herself in a point to dictating the story. It's been about keeping people on point,
right? But
and helping. Not to say that she shouldn't have,
right.
But I don't think that she's ever seen herself as, like I mentioned, Feige's role to oversee the story. I think hers has been to I think she's just wanted to maintain the brand.
Right.
But maybe she should have been.
Well, she should have delegated to somebody at bare minimum.
Right.
Because they should have had some czar of story.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, hey guys,
because it's the same problem that's happened. With the DC movies, is they tried to have a story group.
Yeah.
But that lasted for like a movie.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of it, and everybody
studio decided to screw it.
Yeah, exactly. That lasted for like a movie. They got rid of it, and now they're kind of like, okay, well, just make sure they kind of say the same thing or at least the same characters. Go play now.
But I'm not one of those like anti Kathleen Kennedy people.
I'm not
either.
either.
No.
But, yeah.
But one has to wonder, like,
somebody dropped the ball.
like why wasn't Dave Filoni more involved? I mean, given his previous involvement with Lucasfilm and his heavy involvement, why wasn't he didn't really get involved until The Mandalorian?
Well, I think because that was where his involvement is, because you have to understand that the area that he works within, for the most part, they really have nothing to do with the feature films. And so unless they're coming to him and asking him his advice or having him participate somehow, he's got no involvement.
Well, no, but what I'm getting at is like you'd think that someone would have been like, hey, Dave Filoni, we want you to be a producer on these films because essentially he is, like one of the world's foremost experts on Star Wars.
Yeah, but at the same time too, I shouldn't say I can understand. I think that people just figured that television is where he is, and he hasn't proven himself, at that point at least, to doing anything in the live action realm, which is why they gave him the Mandalorian to oversee, but obviously proved himself. But by the time, this has come out now, all that was done. Yeah. So there was really nothing that he could do unless they approached him. But I just don't think that they saw him in that capacity.
Now, if this year's rumors are to be believed, and I emphasize the rumor part because these were also very similar rumors to last year. Well, I mean, if this year's Kathleen Kennedy's firing rumors are true, they weren't last year. Yeah. She actually got an extension, which, for those that are following up, is the opposite of firing. But
very good.
The most recent Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired rumors are now stating that Filoni and Favreau are going to be given control of the movies.
Well, see, but the thing is, though, is that let's say they are given control of the movies. She's still head of Lucasfilm.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. These are essentially like recycled like rumors from last year.
The only way that changes is the board makes the decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but I mean, it's not just this. It's like when you go online, it's like they're just rehashing. They're just rehashing 2018 rumors because now that Michael B. Jordan is Superman rumors popping up again, I'm like, well, we went through this a year ago.
Well, yeah.
And Henry Cavill's out there still going, guys. As far as I know, I'm still Superman.
But going back to like the beginning of the discussion, we're talking about just the rule of the internet now is you can only go on there if you're angry, but it seems to be that most of the rumors about her firing all come from the same group that just don't want females there. She's a female, she's in charge, she's ruined my childhood.
And the thing that sucks is that, like, I was reading this on Hollywood Reporter, and I'm like, oh, now I can't go to Hollywood Reporter anymore.
Yeah, because they pick up on that. Yeah, it's all clickbait.
But I mean, it used to be not even that long ago. That was like a reputable website.
Right. Yeah, it's just
now it's like that's fallen out too.
Reputable.
Reputable. It's been a long day, Nick.
It's repudiated as well.
But no, I've
there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
So the last few weeks, I've actually been significantly cutting down my internet time because it's all dumb and depressing.
Yeah, but like I said,
eat your brains.
I think that it just seems to be that that's where it all comes from, is that group to thinking that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the fact is, whether they like it or not, this has made a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Someone tried to tell me it was a disappointing box office. Like, since when does like what 378 million worldwide opening weekend, 3-day weekend, might I add? Like, when is that disappointing box office?
And last week brought in 73,
and has made more money at this point than Last Jedi
that's
did.
Just domestic.
So wait a minute, didn't it already top 500?
Yeah.
In like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Look at the Orlando attendance since Rise of the Resistance is open. It's been nuts. I mean,
it's because now you can buy that Ben Solo lightsaber.
Exactly. But so that's what the Disney brass sees. They see the dollar signs.
Yeah.
They honestly could
Which is how it should be, because that's how business works.
Yeah. They could care less about trolls online.
Yeah. Because
most of the Disney brass don't know how to use the internet. So they're not paying attention to this stuff unless we find out that she's done something, she kills puppies or something. They're not going to care.
You can club a couple seals over the head. It's fine.
But no, you'd be amazed how many times in the last month I've had to explain to people that businesses do not care about anything other than money, because that is the entire purpose of business.
What's their profit margin?
She's bringing money, and the brand is staying in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they see. So and I would love to see Favreau and Filoni come on to be a part of the live-action film franchise, whether it's to oversee the story or to take over a storyline, or bring in some new stories. I'm all for that. But they're not going to replace her.
That is the problem, though, with that. It pushes back Mandalorian.
Yeah, it does.
Because we're going to get them in the fall of this year now.
Just give it to Deborah Chow. She's only doing that one season of Obi-Wan right now. Have her do season 2 of Mandalorian.
Well, I mean, she'll direct. She's not writing the whole thing.
Well, she's writing Obi-Wan, though.
Well, that's fine, but
Yeah.
they're already written, I think, season 2.
Yeah.
I'm saying if she's going to read season 3, it's fine,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying
you're
you're gonna have to bump them to do the movie because that's going to take up more time than the television show.
And I loved her episode of Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
It was a great episode. I mean, they were all great episodes, but I really liked hers.
I didn't like the Mos Eisley episode. That dude was, and that guy went on like a really
one
long
guy,
rant online,
yeah.
about how like Disney has ruined Star Wars and everything. And I went, "Oh, dude, it's a good thing you were killed off in the Mandalorian because you wouldn't come back."
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's in the 501st.
Really, it's Bobby Cannavale's son.
Really?
He's not nearly as the actor his father is. But I've learned that in the world of Star Wars, you don't have to be a good actor because you know how many people like love Hayden Christensen's Anakin.
Oof.
Oh man, the youngsters are always get mad when I talk about what a terrible. I used to think Hayden Christensen was a bad actor until I saw him in other things, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, where was this in the Star Wars prequel?
Well, and I think that was the thing too, is that people saw his
George.
before Attack of the Clones came out. People watched his other performances, were like, "Oh, this guy's amazing!
Yeah,
I can't wait to see him as Vader." And then he got George Lucas as a director, and whose only direction is faster, more intense.
Yep.
I want to do this. I want to do that.
But
I want to be a Jedi.
one thing that actually just reminded
But Luke
me,
did the same thing.
Yeah, well, a little bit.
But Mark Hamill gave
not
better
nearly as
performances,
whiny though.
Was he though?
He got a little whiny at times, but
Yeah.
not as
No,
bad as
Luke's whiny, and I want to go to Tashi Station and get some power converters.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh,
Said I could fill out my application this year.
yeah. But
I'm never gonna get out of here.
it's not about the
Big
whiny stuff.
right.
It's about
So-
it's about the performance. And Mark
Yeah.
Hamill's performance in the original trilogy was better than Hayden Christensen's
Yes.
in the prequel
Yes, it
trilogy.
was.
But I'm just saying,
But
he got it from his.
That was before he became in Jedi training. Excuse me, sir.
Well, I'm telling you guys earlier. Now I'm watching Clone Wars, and like the Anakin in Clone Wars is not a whiny little bitch.
Oh no, yeah, he's
He's a much more interesting character, and I'm like, see, now this is much like I can buy this guy becoming Vader. I never bought Hayden Christensen becoming Vader, and I mean the voice actor for Anakin Clone Wars isn't even that good. He's just good enough, right? He's not that bad, which is a step up. Yeah. But I was gonna say, so the end of the movie when all the Jedi start talking to Rey.
Yes.
I legitimately thought we were going to see some of these characters
That
in
was
live
what I
action
thought.
I was
for the
hoping we
first
would.
time.
Yeah, I was really
and we did
hoping
not.
we
And I
would.
went,
I thought we might see some ghost forms popping
Yeah,
up behind her.
that's
I'm
what
like,
I thought, too.
oh.
like, to see Ahsoka Tano. I mean, I'm just now discovering these characters, so I'm not like, oh man, I'm disappointed. But I know people that like their favorite character is Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Or I mean, is Freddie Prinze Jr. too old to play the live action Kanan? Maybe, but you don't have to actually have him play the character. You can have just a stand in there. You can still have him do the voice. I mean, it would have been nice to even see Hayden Christensen one more time as Anakin, even though I hate the fact that they replaced Sebastian Shaw with Anakin because it didn't make any sense because they didn't put Ewan McGregor at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But Anakin gets younger as the Force goes, but Obi-Wan doesn't? Come on now. That's not fair to Obi-Wan. He's going to be forever remembered as an old man.
Hashtag justice for Obi-Wan.
But unless Disney Plus puts out a new version of Return of the Jedi.
Hashtag not my Jedi.
Where Ewan McGregor shows up at the end of Jedi as Force goes Obi-Wan and he goes McClunky. But, I showed that to somebody the other day, and they were just completely flabbergasted. They're like, "What do you mean?" Because I guess they hadn't watched A New Hope since Disney Plus launched. So I went right to that scene, and they're, "What did he just say?" We think it's McClunky. What does that mean? Nobody knows because it's the only thing Greedo says. It's not subtitled. Why did they do that? You have to ask George. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But McClunky. I'm thinking about changing my gamer tag to McClunky.
Clunky.
But no, I definitely thought it was a missed opportunity to have some of these characters in live action for the first time. I mean, especially for a movie that was so hardcore on the fan service that they had Rey and Ben Solo kiss.
Right.
Like, you couldn't give us a live action Ahsoka? Come on now.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were about to see a Jedi Sith showdown.
That would have been really cool.
Because as we, as
them pushing behind her
as
or something.
Palpatine was, was rising up to see, whether they were statues or the ghosts of past Sith rise up too. That's why I was wondering whether or not we were going to see
All I'm
the
saying
Jedi rise up.
is that in Dragon Ball,
Sweet.
When Gohan is fighting Cell and he doesn't think he has the strength anymore, the ghost of his dead father shows up. You see him. You see the ghost shows up to help him defeat, because the final battle between Rey and Palpatine was kind of a Dragon Ball fight scene, basically. And that's all I thought in the movie. I was like, Goku showed up. Ghost Goku showed up to help Gohan. You physically saw him. Like, come on, you couldn't show us something, man. Like, nothing, just the voices, you know. And then there were so many voices that
they kind of blended in.
In together. You had to look at the credits just to see all the people that were there.
Whether we saw, but still, even though I would have liked to have seen him, I still love the fact though that they brought in these characters that probably a lot of people didn't know who most of them were. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are a lot of movie fans who don't know who Ahsoka is.
Yeah, I barely know.
Who don't know who Kanan is.
Yeah,
you know. So to hear,
I know Luminara is in like what Phantom Menace, like in one scene.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, but
I know another one. One of them got completely cut from, I think, Revenge.
Yes.
Had their scenes completely cut.
Where she's executed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, I just thought kind of wasted opportunity. And no Plo Koon, huh? Come on now. He was a Jedi. I used to use him in that video game Jedi Power Battles. I wouldn't recommend playing that game. That game was pretty weird.
Well, then maybe that's why they didn't use it.
Well, no, but he's in the movies. You know,
you would have used Babu Frik.
He's got the orange lightsaber. And then I always forget the name of the Jedi with the really tall head.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
It's like a 3 name name. You know, like
Qui-Gon Jinn.
But then that also, you know. So in Revenge of the Sith, it's established that it's not something that Jedi can just naturally do. You have to learn how to do that because Qui-Gon learned it. So naturally, all these other... Well, maybe that's why Plo Koon and the tall-headed guy didn't learn how to do it.
Right.
Yeah. But all these other Jedi
They were killed too soon.
Gone too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
to
learn how to come back from it.
Yeah. I loved seeing Lando back.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. Even all the actually some of my favorite stuff in the movies is all the stuff on Exegol.
Yeah,
like once we start showing up on Exegol, I'm really like, okay, now I'm really on board for this. Although, did you guys watch that Rugrats video I sent you?
I don't think I did.
So they did like a little Rugrats, like years and years ago. This is like during the original one in Rugrats. They did like a Star Wars parody scene, and you watching it. Oh, it's very similar to the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh wow!
And all in my head, I thought like this is the Rugrats version of Simpsons did it. Now Rugrats is predicting the future. But no, I loved the entire second half of the movie. I thought was absolutely fantastic. And I told you guys afterwards, like it's a lot of that visually is like playing Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're exploring the like either old ruins or wreckages of stuff, and you're jumping across and just narrowly hanging on for dear life. And,
right.
You know, like that stuff was all pretty cool. And then I sent you guys that video of her igniting the lightsaber, and it took me a few times before I even caught the blue and green thing. But yeah,
So for those that haven't seen it, talk about what that is.
So at the very end of the movie, for those that have seen it, you'll notice the scene that we finally see Rey's new lightsaber, her igniting it, and you notice that unlike most lightsabers, I've just been calling it a rotary switch.
Okay.
Because I don't know how else to describe that.
Yeah.
You know, she rotates. She doesn't press a button. She literally like rotates clockwise. Right. You know. And in the theater, I didn't catch it, and a lot of people I guess didn't. And then I saw this on Reddit where someone put up a clip of it just over and over again. And like the third time I saw it, you see that when she flips the switch, which is right at the bottom of the emitter, there's a little window, and you see it flashes blue, and in the direction that she's turning it to. So it's like it's going with the turn of the switch, blue and then green, and then the blade ignites. And there's not, as far as we know, in a continuity, actual explanation for that, like a canon explanation for why it does that. Again, most of us didn't even notice it, but my assumption is because it's after she buries Luke and Leia's lightsaber, right? And pause that. Is she burying Luke's lightsaber or Anakin's lightsaber? You've seen it twice now. I've only seen it the one time.
I believe it's Luke's.
Okay, so then it would be a green crystal and a blue
Oh
crystal.
no! It is Anakin's because we haven't seen Luke's green saber yet.
Yes, exactly. The only time we saw it was in the flashback scene
Right.
in Last Jedi. Okay, so that dispels my theory. But my theory was maybe it was Luke's crystal and Leia's crystal. But I don't really know. But it looks cool.
But that would make sense for her to do that, and to take them out, and then bury the sabers,
Yeah.
for her to use because, the Empire and the First Order have taken almost all the kyber crystals in the galaxy because that's what powered the Death Star.
Oh yeah.
So she would have to. I would think she would have to reuse them because of how much harder they are to find.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is her hilt is longer, so the assumption is that it's a double blade because that's what she's used to fighting because she always kept her staff.
Oh no, I've actually seen like the still shots of it. It's actually not that long at all. But the pommel looks just like the emitter. But then I've gone back and I've looked at the still of it. It doesn't. That was my first. Actually, I thought it was kind of based on Exar
small
Kun's
hands,
lightsaber,
guys.
which is the first time we saw a double bladed lightsaber. Because this predates the Phantom Menace, but it is a small. It's like a one-handed lightsaber that has two emitters on each side,
Right.
and that's what I initially thought in this movie was it was based on Exar Kun's lightsaber. That's how much of a Star Wars nerd I am. Nerd. But upon looking at it again, looking at the still pictures of it, it doesn't look like it looks like it's just a pommel. I thought it was a second emitter. It looks like it's just a pommel because it doesn't have the windows that the emitter does and everything. And so, but I thought it was going to be double bladed too, and I thought that would have been really sweet. But I don't think that anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's just a.
I've always
We'll
wanted.
never know because we didn't get to see it in action.
I've always wanted an orange lightsaber.
Orange saber.
I
Orange sabers.
actually bought the deluxe edition of Fallen Order because it said on there one of the benefits is you get an exclusive orange bladed lightsaber, and then I go through the game, play it all, unlock everything, and I'm like, there was no orange lightsaber blade. And I look up, and it turns out it doesn't say it on the package, and nowhere on the box does it say this, but online it's a pre-order only. But the box never says that. So one of the reasons that I purchased the deluxe edition of Fallen Order, I didn't even get to enjoy it.
Did you contact them?
No,
You
because
should.
it was on sale, so
Yeah,
I
but
got
still.
a really good deal on it anyway.
Yeah, but still.
It was
you know.
actually cheaper than the standard edition.
So they hook you up.
I got it on Black
Don't
Friday.
say that out loud.
But I've already played through the game though. I mean, I mean, I wouldn't start the game over again just for an orange saber.
I would.
I was using cyan. Fun fact though, at least on the PlayStation, I don't know if it's like that in the Xbox. Your lightsaber color, whichever one you're using, and you can change at any time in the game. Changes the color that's coming out of the little light on your controller. So if you're using the green saber, your controller is lighting up green. If you're using a purple one, it's purple.
What if it's black and white?
That's not an option in the game. No dark sabers, guys. No dark sabers. But then at the very end, the woman asks Rey what her name is. She says, "Rey, what's your family name?" And she looks at the Force ghost of Luke and Leia and says, "Skywalker."
Yeah.
And that apparently is the Rise of Skywalker in the title.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they had a child and it was Rey.
What?
Metaphorically speaking,
No,
that was
that's
the
what
closest
happened.
family that she had. So I get it. It makes sense. It just doesn't quite fit into the context of the name.
they
Skywalker
bumped
isn't
uglies,
exactly
guys.
rising. She just takes upon that name,
Right.
because it's the closest family she's ever had.
No, they
So
really
the title is a little misleading.
they bumped uglies, guys. That's what happened. The stork came.
But much like the Phantom Menace is also kind of an odd title. It's like, well, was the Phantom Menace the Sith that were kind of in waiting?
Or was it the
but
trade
they didn't
union?
really come. You just discover that hey, there's like something going on here. They don't
It
really
was Jar Jar Binks.
like attack or
The
anything like that.
Phantom
So it's
Menace.
again, Phantom Menace is
Well, you
kind
guys
of like
keep debating. I got to run to the restroom.
okay.
Keep fighting.
The impossible dream.
Sit over there. You're in charge. I don't want to be in charge. Last time I was in charge, things went bad.
Yeah.
No, I'll just stand up here. Let me.
What are you, comic now?
Well, yeah.
We don't,
so
don't even start. Don't even start.
knock knock.
No.
Knock knock.
No, I'm not doing this. That's not happening.
What says O-O-O?
I don't want to know.
Santa Claus walking backwards.
Oh, my.
I was looking at a bunch of dad jokes lately. Why does Santa Claus have 3 gardens? So he can ho, ho, ho.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
No, we're done. We're done. We're drawing the line. So, yes, I understand the whole family thing.
The whole what thing?
The whole family thing is her.
Well, yeah, like I said, it is the closest family she's ever known.
Yeah.
And Skywalker is a much cooler name than Palpatine.
True.
Big spoiler for those who haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, because Palpatine kind of makes you weary.
Well,
a little bit.
It's got a bad family history. It's not a good family name.
No. It's not one to be associated with.
Jesse, why did the chicken cross the road?
Oh God!
Because
it's trying
staple to the punk rocker.
What?
I've never gotten that joke before.
Was that right?
I have no idea.
Oh,
because I've never known why the chicken crossed the road.
Because it can.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks. I'm here all week.
So that was the stellar comedy while I used the Force.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to do some knock jokes, but Nick wouldn't bite.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, good job.
I'm trying to keep this a legitimate podcast.
My jokes are clean now. I had to look up a bunch of dad jokes because one of the nephews was, wanting to learn some jokes, and I realized all my jokes are dirty. I can't tell this kid any of these jokes.
Got any grapes?
So yeah, but yeah, no. So what were we talking about? The whole her taking on the Skywalker name,
Right.
Which makes sense. It makes total sense. It's a misleading title. Is all.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for a Luke Skywalker resurrection.
Them to just walk out.
But
Well, he kind of did. Just walk out.
Yeah.
Caught the lightsabers. Like, hey,
and then lifted up the X-wing.
still here.
Yeah.
Getting
No,
about,
I mean,
getting
you gotta
about as
treat
much
your
screen
weapon
time as the people everybody's complaining about.
well, I was gonna say we pretty much called that he was gonna be a Force Ghost from the
Well,
minute
yeah.
of the last Jedi.
Yeah.
That was like
Well,
a given.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked more Force Ghost Luke, right? They basically
Absolutely.
just gave him the Obi-Wan treatment, where Obi-Wan's barely in those movies after he died, and that's only because Guinness didn't really want to do it, from what I understand.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know who got more screen time, him or Harrison Ford. But Harrison Ford's scene was, I think, much more
Yeah.
impactful than Luke Skywalker's. And for
Yeah.
like, the very final movie in the Skywalker saga, I would have liked to have seen more Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And JJ doesn't really like Luke Skywalker, I guess.
I was surprised.
Or R2-D2.
I was surprised at the amount of footage they had of Carrie still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we found apparently a lot of it was cut out, too. So
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, like you were talking about with the interview, where he said that there was a lot of stuff, and then they just realized that it's not going to work. And they weren't going to use it if they could not make it look good.
Yeah. The Han Solo thing.
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was a very nice surprise.
Yeah.
I got choked up during that.
But as I went back and did a research on backlog of, I'm always talking about JJ just does not run a tight ship. That was leaked back in April. Like right before Celebration, the Han, which fortunately I didn't discover that at all. Like that was one of the things that I had no clue about.
Oh, good.
And then I was actually thinking back to the Burger King commercial from Germany, and it turns out I was wrong. Those were all leaks from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that commercial.
They said they were going to leak.
Yeah.
Yeah. But German,
Because that was one of the
Burger King's
first
got some
times I
balls,
heard
man.
was the Palpatine was his grandfather. The grandfather.
And they talk about how Ben Solo gets
Yeah.
redemption and then die, or the bad guy gets redemption and then dies, saving the good girl and everything. And I was like, but again, I just, everyone on the internet was like, oh, these are just bullshit. Like, Reddit leaks, these are nothing. So I was like, okay. And it's a good thing you didn't watch that commercial.
I told
Yeah.
you, man. Even though.
Well, I watched it, but I couldn't understand anything because it was in German,
Oh, well,
and I don't translate German unless I've got like an app out or something.
no sprechen Sie Deutsch.
No, sprechen Sie Deutsch, Fräulein.
What did you just call me? Okay, yeah. So yeah, that
Nine.
that commercial
He
totally.
asked, he asked you why the chicken crossed the road.
Um, I'll never know. It's one of life's greatest mysteries, guys.
Is it really?
Well, the real mystery is why people ever thought that was funny. Because I've never, even as a child, I was like, I don't get that.
Because there was no TV. That was why.
Back in my day, we asked people why the chicken crossed the road. And we said to get the other side, and damn it, we laughed. But no, the Han Solo thing, like that.
Is that your old guy?
That is my old guy.
Huh.
Don't worry, life's coming at me hard. It might sound a lot better next week. But one of the same thread I was reading that was talking about the whole Lando's daughter getting kidnapped. This is all stuff dating back to like April. Was talking about the Han Solo thing, right? And in those leaks, it was Luke. Like, I guess Luke had some scenes cut out too, allegedly. I stress the allegedly part because we don't know. This is just something people have been saying on the internet. But according to these leaks, Luke was the one who conjured up the Han Solo to, because at the end he says, "If you strike me down, I will be with you forever, just like your father," right? And so that's Luke coming through on his promise, bringing his father up to. The leaks aren't clear as if he actually conjures them up or just like stokes a memory, right? And in the movie they talk about you're not real, you're just my memory or whatever, blah blah. So, but the implication, or at least what I got from what I was reading, was that was brought on by Luke, which I thought that would have been cool. Again, follows through on a moment from the Last Jedi. Luke coming through on his word, "I will be with you forever, just like your father."
My understanding is that it was Leia using her life force to prompt that.
Yeah,
right.
And that's why she go bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah.
Once she laid down, that got me too. I go like, oh.
Well,
no.
not to mention, you see who it was that helped her down? That was her daughter.
Yeah.
So, and she specifically, apparently, when she got the script, she went to them and said, "I want some scenes with my mom."
Yeah.
And the fact that she did that, they were just like, I can't even believe that she did that.
Now, with the regards of her character and the specific actress, and then earlier I'm talking about Dominic Monaghan. We don't even know who this guy is. Like, I kept thinking this couldn't have been what's her name? Why can't I think of her daughter's name right now?
Billy Lord.
This could have been Billy Lord. She's already an established character.
Yeah.
I would have rather these scenes been gone to her instead of Dominic. I mean, and I like Dominic Monaghan. I mean, dude, Lord of the Rings, right? Who doesn't like Dominic Monaghan?
Well, also too, again, going back to whatever it was that was cut out, did scenes there play off of each other? Because all that seems to come back to that one location.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that in trimming this and trimming that and trimming this, okay, well then we have to keep in Captain Exposition, even though we're not seeing this other scene or this other, so. A lot of factors come in during editing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily that they wrote up his character to be a much bigger presence than other characters, that are established. I think that's just the way editing ended up happening.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, I wanted to see a lot more of her, and part of it's because I kind of have a crush on her.
Oh, here we go.
But also part of it, again, it's Carrie Fisher's daughter, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give me more Carrie Fisher. I'll settle for Billy Lord, But fortunately, we didn't see any of Mark Hamill's kids because I don't even know if they're actors. I know they're grown. Mark Hamill voiced the I forget the name of the character, but in the very beginning, the person,
the spy,
which would make it the third character then that Mark Hamill has played in Star Wars, because he's one of the aliens at Canto Bight in the casino. He voiced one of those aliens.
Oh,
too.
right.
Yeah. So I guess we got more Mark Hamill than I realized, but still, I still wanted more, especially for the final Star Wars movie. It just kind of sucked that Luke wasn't in there that much.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
I can't wait for some more Baby Frik.
Yeah, telling you, road trip movie.
That's gonna be Kevin Feige's movie.
He and Baby Yoda on the road.
Yeah. And now that it's January, and we were told that in January we would get an announcement on the next Star Wars, whatever.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
We're just now counting the days. They just said January. There's like 30 days to do this. So
it's just January 1st. Calm down.
Well, I want to know now.
I must have it. Give it to me.
Like, I've got to wait for that, and then I've got to wait an undisclosed amount of time for my lightsaber to come in. It's just, the waiting is killing me.
Aw.
I'm a very impatient man.
Yeah, apparently.
That's why I look up spoilers.
But how good did you feel, though, to be pleasantly surprised at moments in the movie because they didn't get spoiled for you?
Well, I mean, again, the Han Solo thing was a big deal.
Right.
Especially, I never thought he'd come back because you've all heard Han Solo talk about, or Harrison Ford talk about this stuff over the years. He didn't want to come back for Jedi. He wanted them to kill off Han and Empire. You know,
there was a recent interview in Vanity Fair, and JJ said how that happened.
Go on.
He called. It's not exciting. He called Harrison and said, "Look, I have this idea for Han to come back, and speak to Ben. Would you be interested?" He said, "Okay." That was it.
Wow. But no, that was a big deal for me. Like I said, I think Ben's story is like the best story in the movie. And actually, now that looking back at the trilogy, I'd say it's the best story in the sequel trilogy total. And unlike a lot of people, I actually really like Kylo Ren.
I did too.
I hear all the complaints, but legitimately, he's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I think Adam Driver's a fantastic actor. He was the only good thing about Girls, for crying out loud. I mean, that show is awful, but he was terrific on there. I haven't seen Marriage Story yet, but I know that that's all the rage right now on Netflix.
I can't bring myself to watch it.
I know very little of it other than just it's got a lot of buzz. I don't even know other than apparently it's about a marriage.
It's about a marriage falling apart.
Oh, well, I can understand. That's depressing.
Yeah, but apparently it's very. From everything from what I've heard from a lot of friends is that it's incredible, that the performances are amazing, and it's very realistic. So I'm just like, I don't know if I can watch that.
Yeah.
Well,
not to say there's anything wrong.
You may not want to watch F for Family because their yelling, screamy matches are so real. It's freaky.
I had a similar experience when watching Hereditary. Now, it's half a horror movie and half a family drama, but the family drama is very dark and it's very real, and it in some cases hit a little too close to home for me.
Bill Burr and Laura Dern just screaming at each other is really intense at times.
Laura Dern's on that? You're talking about the cartoon, right?
Yeah, F is for Family.
I had no idea. It's one of those things that's been on my list forever, and I just never got around to watching it. But no, the answer to your question, no, I was very happy. What I didn't know, I was very happy to actually see fresh. And although if this was not the last one, I would not have bothered. I've said this before. Say what you will about The Last Jedi, but I actively looked up spoilers for The Last Jedi, and except for that one thing where that news reporter leaked Yoda.
Oh, that's right.
None of that movie was leaked online, and I actively tried. And there was a show that I can't remember it now. It was one of the internet streaming shows a few years ago that I didn't really like, but I watched the first episode, and I was like, well, Hemlock Grove. It was awful. Hemlock Grove is garbage.
Right.
But it's a murder mystery that quickly forgets that it's a murder mystery and then comes back in the last episode or two to, we have to solve this murder. But even if it's something I don't like, it's kind of like Masked Singer. On the surface, I don't like Masked Singer, but once you introduce, who are these people? I'm like, well, damn it, now I got to know, right?
Yeah, who are these people?
So they're Masked Singers.
I watched the first episode of Hemlock Grove, and I was, this is awful. Let me look up who killed him, and there's nothing on the internet. No one's talking about it. There's no wikis that are dedicated to this show. Nothing. So I was like, I'm seriously gonna have to watch the rest of this to find out who did it. And I watched the entire first season, and you know what? I regret it. I really wish I had those 13 hours of my life back.
Well,
because it was stupid. It was stupid, and I'm never gonna get that time back. I did not watch season 2, and I can't believe there was a season 3. But apparently they came to their senses and canceled it at season 3.
Yeah.
Because that show is awful. But yeah, no, the everything with Ben Solo, I keep saying, was my absolute favorite. I liked all the stuff with Rey, except for I literally thought, no pun intended, I can't say this better, I thought the Reylo kiss was forced.
Yeah.
It was something the fans demanded. I didn't think it was necessary.
No.
And especially he literally he smiles and then drops dead.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It was. I get it. He gave his Force essence to revive her, so he essentially gave his life for her.
Right.
But just that that happy smile, and then plop, he's dead.
And then he just disappears.
Yeah.
Poof,
yeah.
He's gone.
But then more importantly, though, I thought
it'd be even crazier if that was her first kiss.
What did I do?
You know.
Oh, man. How messed up would that make you for the rest of your life?
Because you think about it, I don't think she ever had a relationship when she was,
on Jakku.
on Jakku.
You don't know.
I don't know.
She could have
but-
made out with a Jawa. You don't know.
If someone suggested to me that there's a possibility she might be force pregnant because he did put his essence into her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the force works in mysterious ways. I can't really say one or another, but no, I also thought, he gets his redemption. How much more interesting would it be? And I get it. They're saying this was the last movie, the story's ended, blah blah blah. But all I thought was, how much more interesting would it be if her and Kylo platonically rebuilt the Jedi Order? He is the most. He is the closest thing there is to a full-on Jedi because he went through the academy. She did not. She's gone through training, but he actually went to the academy, right? And then when he dies, I was like, oh, there goes that. That ain't happening now. Unless he's like Professor Force Ghost.
But I also get the impression that she's the only one who's ever actually read the Jedi text, considering that even Yoda was like,
no, yeah, totally.
good.
It's just, I just thought like the possibilities of like what could have been had he like lived.
They're here for them.
And I mean, but you look at like Anakin went to the dark side and came back and then died, right?
Right.
If he had gone to the dark side and came back and lived, I think for future generations, that's a more harrowing story. He actually went to the dark side and then came back and did good, right? Kind of like in the expanded universe Luke did in Dark Empire. He gives into the dark side and then comes back. Like this. It's
you're going to have to continue watching Clone Wars.
No, I know.
Because there is an episode about that.
Nice.
So I don't want to give it away at all, but there is an episode about that, about going to the dark side and coming back.
Yeah.
That you will love. It's actually it's an arc of about
Question:
3 or 4 episodes.
Does that have anything to do with Mortis? Because I'm starting to discover this Sith planet. I think Mortis, or not. I don't know if it's Sith, but it's like definitely dark side.
Don't
right?
remember the name of the planet that they're on.
Because a lot of people were talking about Mortis. There was a debunked fan theory, or a debunked rumor, I should say, that there was going to be some stuff in this movie about Mortis, and I had to go and Google what Mortis was. Well, I know what the word Mortis means, but in the context of Star Wars. And lots of people involved in the movie were like, no, there was never at any point, was it ever, the story, Lucas story from Bruce were like, no, guys, sorry, Mortis was never in the plans for this movie. So I know of this place, and it's supposed to be a big deal in the Clone Wars, but
I don't remember the name of the planet. It's very possible that that's what it is.
I know it's you, but I'm kind of a big deal.
But yeah, no, I just the possibilities. I really wish Ben was alive.
All right,
Things could have been really cool.
So where do we see it going now? So they say that the Skywalker story, as far as the characters that we've grown up with, that's done.
Yeah.
So now whatever goes forward will be either from these characters that we've now had established in this film series onto their own new adventures or something else. So what do you see?
Well, I actually, the stuff that Bob Iger said a lot recently, I actually agree with. Like maybe, the idea of doing trilogies is kind of not necessary anymore.
Right.
Maybe if we do like a single film, and if that's successful, we do a follow-up. I'm like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because there's nothing other than just tradition that suggested there needed to be trilogies, right?
Right.
The first one was a trilogy. The second one was a trilogy. But it doesn't have to be.
Right.
But I've said it before, like I'm hoping that this announcement is whatever's going on with the project that the Benioff and Weiss left about the origin of the Jedi. I've wanted to see something like that for a very long time.
Love that.
For the longest time, my favorite expanding universe, anything was Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And I still want to see, and we saw last summer, Kathleen Kennedy was talking about they're working on something with Knights of the Republic. She just can't say what yet.
Right.
So I'm really hoping for that. I would like to see exploration of the past.
Well, what if we saw, instead of the idea of it being a trilogy, what if they started going to the Marvel model and created just a long storyline?
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Star Wars really should be, in whatever format they want to do it in, it should be one long story. Again, like you said, like the Marvel movies. But even then, we look at Solo and Rogue One. These are films that have contributed to the overall story that we've seen so far.
Right.
And I really like that idea. I really like those movies.
Samesies.
And I think that would be great. Not having to to marry yourself to the restrictions of a specific trilogy.
Hello.
And I think it's simpler. I think for the fans it'd be more enjoyable. Because whether you love Disney's trilogy or you hate it, what's the one thing everyone says? Rogue One was awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
No one dislikes Rogue One, and I mean it's incredible, and it's a single standalone film. So, I now know some people who don't like Solo. They suck, but that's not the point. But no one dislikes Rogue One.
And Rogue One we didn't see it, but is the first live action where Darksaber's mentioned.
Oh, really?
In Rogue One.
Go on.
When they are trying to find the plans for the Death Star and they're going through files and she's naming them, she names hyperspace tracking and Darksaber.
Okay. So that's cool. That is really cool.
So,
Well, if they're going to continue on with the new three, the new triumvirate of friends, super friends of Poe, Finn, and Rey, they need to have a definite cohesive direction of where we're going with
yeah.
them. And it's going to take multiple films.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how long of a term they want to go with that.
Yeah, and...
Because 3 is like, okay, we got 3 movies, we round it out, and we're done.
Right, and from all that I've gathered is that Daisy doesn't want to come back. That's what I've gathered, but you never know. I mean, the actors from the original trilogy didn't think that they would want to come back, and they did.
Yeah.
So
Adam Driver had an interesting comment about his potential future for Star Wars. An interviewer asked him basically, are you officially done with the Star Wars movies now? And he goes, well, that's not currently on the agenda, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it probably just comes down to that. If they give them a good story,
Right.
Like when JJ approached everybody, was like, here's the story that I'm thinking of, Force Awakens. That brought them all on board.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't necessarily need to... I think it'd be... Either they go with Finn and Poe, because that seems more like the buddy cop movie.
Right.
That you could see with a comedic, kind of flair to it. That seems more of a direction to go than... Because now Rey's all by herself out on Tatooine, we're assuming.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantee she actually just stayed, but...
Someone tried to convince me that she moved into that house, and I went, why do you think that?
It's possible.
But there's also nothing that suggests that. She's
I
went there
know.
to bury the lightsabers.
Moved into Ben's place.
Yeah.
Although, as far as we know, Leia's never been there, so why she buried Leia's saber there, I'll never understand, but...
'Cause
Yeah.
it's not like she has a home planet that they can bury him on.
That is a good point.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for love in Alderaan places. Oh, that should be my new gamer tag. I don't know if that'll fit on PlayStation, but looking for love in Alderaan places.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to hear what they say.
Yeah.
I think that if we are going to get adventures with Finn and Poe, maybe a movie or maybe a series.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do a series of films with them.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. But I think at this point too, it'd probably be safe to say that it would be, if it were going to be 3 people, it would be Finn, Poe, and Rose.
Right.
Would be my guess.
Right.
Oh, man, because we don't get enough Rose, apparently.
But again, I like her.
We got to love all the unrequited love that each
Yeah.
one's.
But again,
getting.
I do. I really like her. It's a shame that she had so much stuff that was cut out, but that's just what happens.
Did you guys hear what J.J. Abrams said it was that Finn was going to tell Rey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he just said that in front of everybody?
Because
I never got
He's
that.
foreign sensitive.
And him confessing his feelings
Ray,
to
I
her
feel your force.
makes way more sense given the context of the movie and the fact that he didn't want to say it in front of everyone else. That made way more sense. And then that was it.
but also
He's force sensitive.
Was that why he was so sweaty when he took his helmet off for
Probably,
the first
yeah.
time?
probably. Well, I mean, but
It was the Force.
if that is truly what it was, if you think back on the movie, he would never tell anybody what was happening with him when he was sensing things.
Yeah.
It always seemed like he was afraid to tell them what it was, because it's almost like he didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Much along the same lines it was with Rey in Force Awakens, where she's like, I don't know what's happening, and she didn't want to tell people, these people, that she's seeing these things, she's feeling these things, because she didn't know. So it's almost the same thing. So if that truly is the case, then that makes sense. So there you go.
But that's an if, though.
Yeah.
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 Who put that goose out of my flow? I'm a karate man. Karate man bleed on the inside.
Well, I mean, it was good, but it was no cats.
Okay.
My girlfriend actually wants to see that movie.
No.
Actually, at this point,
I'll
part
see
of me
it for
wants to
free.
see it too.
I'm good.
When something is that bad, I have to see it.
Who was it that came out and just obliterated it?
Everybody.
I was just gonna say.
No, there was a. It was an actress. I don't remember who it was.
Oh, yes.
She just came out with both barrels.
Oh, man. Evan Rachel Wood.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
she in
on
the
Twitter.
movie?
No.
Okay.
No, she just
that would've
she
been
saw
funnier.
it, and then on Twitter, like last week, just this long thing about just not understanding it, and just really, she ended up going back and deleting all of them because, of course, the internet.
From what I understand, John Boyega has not deleted any of his tweets. He's actually responded to fans going, okay, whatever, bruh.
That's just him. Everything that I know about him, that, like I was saying the other day when somebody was saying, "Oh, he's, a friend of ours he's trashing the movie." It's like, no, he's not.
I fully support. I fully support John Boyega and all his comments.
I think he posted something that he thought was funny.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't him trashing the movie. He just like, oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
I got to share this, and then everybody, immediately, because the internet.
Sensitive.
Yeah, and so. Yeah, I'm team Boyega.
Team John Boyega.
But like I was saying too to that friend of ours, it was like, oh, he's trashing the movie, blah blah blah. Is that he really is the one actor from these new films that has taken the most heat out of anybody, because everybody else, they're not active, or they've deleted their social media presence because of trolls.
Yeah.
Whereas he and Mark Hamill are the only ones that are ever out there saying things or interacting in some way. But Mark Hamill, of course, because he's Mark Hamill, doesn't get the hate about the movies. So since John Boyega is the one that's active out there, he gets all of it.
When Disney tells you to stop, Mark, we need you to stop talking crap about our movie.
Yeah. But I'll also say this, like, John Boyega is a very vocal Star Wars fan.
Right.
And was before he ever got this role. So when he says something like this, I think he has every right to say it as a Star Wars fan.
And I know somebody that when Force Awakens was done filming but hadn't come out yet, was on a flight with him, and they recognized, because they're a Star Wars fan as well, and so they saw him. They didn't say anything because like, I don't want to say anything. When he got up, when they were getting off of the plane, and he went to get his backpack from the overhead compartment, it was a Stormtrooper backpack.
Nice.
There you go. There you go.
I was like, that, yeah. See, that's a fan.
But Twitter sucks, though. It really does, man. Like, and it's not just
Dropping
this.
sweet tweets.
It's literally like the last couple months. All I've seen on Twitter, regardless of whatever subject you're looking at, it could be various fandoms. It could be someone just expressing their opinions on something. There's a lot of anger and hatred being spewed at people just for expressing themselves, right? And I mean, some people deserve the hate. If you're gonna spout out, if your opinions and your expression is hatred and vileness and evil, then you deserve to get responded in kind.
Yeah,
right.
But when you're just like, hey, I went through this bad experience and I want to express it here as a way to like vent, or to move on with my the bad traumatic thing that happened in life, and people go, you're a terrible person because of what happened to you. I'm not gonna get into specifics, but I think you guys can read between the lines here. I mean, these are things I literally see people tweet about, and just the hatred they get for it's disgusting. It's despicable, and I'm thinking about quitting Twitter.
You're my family, and I love you, but you're terrible. You're all terrible.
But a big bulk of what I'm seeing happens to do with either sports or nerddom. It's not all attacking people for personal trauma, but a lot of it is.
It's any subject.
Yeah,
we could go on. We could pick any subject in the world, and people can automatically start a fight.
And the weird thing is, you used to see this a lot on Reddit. This used to be common on Reddit, and in a weird twist, I'm now seeing a lot of love and support on Reddit, and I'm like, okay, I stepped into the Twilight Zone at one point because nothing makes sense to me anymore.
Well,
up is down, black is white, cats and dogs living together.
Complete anarchy.
But
back off, man. I'm a scientist.
I think that one thing with lots of the Reddit rooms, they have moderators in there as well.
Twitter
doesn't.
No, not at all.
I mean, I know I have friends on there that have gotten death threats. I've gotten some. And you can report them, and they won't. Well, it doesn't violate our rules if they ever even respond to it. Same thing on Facebook. I've gotten like DMs sent to me because I've put support for something or left a meme. In a comment board, and I've gotten death threats about it, and you report them like, no, it doesn't really violate our standards. Like, okay, all right, so you just don't care.
The other day, just a few weeks ago, it was literally after a Raider game where they lost like 42-21, right?
Sounds about right.
And Derek Carr, for those who know the quarterback, threw for 3 touchdowns, had just shy of 300 passing yards and no interceptions, and only like 5 incompletions. And I tweeted, but the defense allowed 42 points, right?
Right.
And so I tweeted out, people are still going to figure out a way to blame us on Derek Carr. And all I got were people go, he didn't throw any touchdowns in the third quarter. Or you shut the F up. Get the F out of here, blah, blah. And I went, like, this was in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, I started a screenshot. I told you guys. Like, these people, I don't think these people even follow me.
There have been times, too, where, like, okay, we'll jump back to Star Wars. Where I've somebody has asked a question, in a comment thing like, okay, and this happened recently. Was like, well, I saw the movie, but I didn't really understand plot point. Not that I didn't get it; it didn't make sense. It was just, can somebody help me out because I didn't really understand this. Where I've thought about I've started to write out a response with an answer. And then I realized that I know that if I leave this, there are going to be 30 other people that are going to reply to this telling me I'm an idiot. How dare you like this movie? You're stupid. You're not a real Star Wars fan. And I just end up deleting them. I was like, I'm not even going to bother. Let this other person figure it out. Or other times where I have left a response, like the other day, one of the Star Wars groups, Galaxy's Edge. So somebody was happy about the fact that they had just gone and purchased both the Sith and Jedi holocrons, and also had...
It's not legal.
And then also bought every kyber crystal, every color, because and they even found a black one, which are the hard ones to find.
Yeah.
So they had a picture of here's all of them, and then somebody posted a breakdown of oh, well, here's who you see with all the colors, depending on when you turn it on or whatever. And so they're like, oh, okay, cool. And so I just left a comment on there of, you should put them on top of each other because there's a surprise. And then immediately underneath that, it's like, well, yeah, but she needs to put this and needs to do this. I'm like, no, you don't need the crystals in it for them to interact with each other. It's really cool. It's a little Easter egg they programmed into them, and just tons of responses of just like, you're a jerk, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, all I did was just post a response telling her, check out this cool secret that's on it. And
so I discovered a video.
Excuse the hell out of me.
Yeah, seriously. And the person actually did it and thought it was really cool, and shot a video of them doing it, and that they thought it was cool. And again, just nothing but responses under that to me. I'm like, okay, forget it.
Yeah, so I stumbled upon a video the other day.
You're welcome,
where,
America.
Somebody was showcasing how you can cheat the whole kyber crystal thing with an RFID writer.
Yeah.
And I was like, A, that's cool. B, kind of takes the fun out of it.
It does.
Yeah. C, I don't know what an RFID writer costs.
But also, too, these are the ones that I don't know. I don't want to start off on this again. So,
Well,
anyways,
we talked about it
it's
before.
just
The whole point of Galaxy's Edge is the experience, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the entire point of it, right? Like, so my sister, she's gone like 2 or 3 times, and the last time she brought me back one of the, am I saying it right? The Abushi?
I don't know
The language that the Star Wars Arabish, sorry.
Or Arabish.
Arabish. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brought me back one of the Cokes in Arabish,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted one really bad, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, cool. But I didn't get it there.
No, I get
And
it.
so now it's like I have it now,
And that's awesome, but
but it's not the same.
I get it.
I didn't go and buy it myself. I didn't experience it
Yeah.
myself.
Meh.
You know?
Damn
And-
you, Coca-Cola.
But no, I was gonna say a moment ago you'd said, "Oh, you're not a real fan." That's what someone had said to you, and I've always hated that term because what's the criteria for being a real fan? What does that even mean?
Well, yeah, and it's so stupid, because again, it's the internet. It's just the way it is. People will make an assumption no matter what, and because you like something, it's just, oh well, you're not a real fan. It's like, oh, listen, 10-year-old. This was the first movie that I saw in the theater when it first came out. Yeah. So we helped keep Star Wars alive when there were no toys, when there were no movies. So,
But I mean, I know guys who don't even like the movies, but they love
Pipe
the
down there,
expanded.
Skippy.
yeah, exactly. Easy, Sparky.
No, but I know guys who don't even like the movies, but they passionately love the expanded universe books. I know people who only love the Clone Wars and not really movies. I know people whose Star Wars fandom is exclusive to the video games. But in all 3 cases, I'm talking about people who passionately love these things. So, like, what makes one person a real fan and the others not? I mean, I don't know.
The only people for any fandom, the only ones that aren't true fans are ones that fake it. Yeah. And there are plenty out there. There's a lot of YouTubers that have made a career out of faking. There's a lot of other nerd celebrities, is what I'll call them, that have made an entire career out of faking their fandom that I know.
Yeah.
That we've talked about. Yeah. And if I were to name publicly, people would go, no. There's a lot of famous nerds, in quotes, that have built their career and aren't really fans. They just sell it very well.
Yeah, there's one that those who know me know I'm very, very much not a fan of that one specific person, and they are rather popular.
But there are others that I know, and I see, some of their posts and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, you don't.
The one that I'm thinking of, like, he's publicly, again, I don't want to be that nerd that's like, oh, you're not a real nerd and how dare you not know. But like when you present yourself as a nerd, and you are very publicly, expressing your ignorance on very basic nerd stuff, like it's like you're a poser. I'm sorry, but you are.
Yeah. So for me, those are the only ones that you can cry. You're not a real fan.
But even then, real fan, what does that even really mean? Like, we're talking about in the overall bigger picture, right? Like there's not a measurement of fandom. There's not like a stick that's like, hey, I'm 12 inches of a fan and you're 13 inches of a fan, or
depends on who you ask. But
like a weight of anything. It doesn't really work that way, man. If you love something, then like love it.
Yeah,
and don't bash someone else for loving something. Like it's
exactly. For me, the ones that aren't real fans are the ones who aren't real fans and pretend to be.
Yeah,
those are the ones that I would like to cry foul at, but they have more money and are more popular than me, so I can't, because then their fans will
attack
out.
you. Yeah,
so it's like whatever.
Again, there's one person in general. A couple years ago, went through a little bout of some controversy, and I know some people in my personal life, and I'm not going to name names either, but are big fans of that person. And when I presented this information, again, this was information. This wasn't like rumor. This wasn't anything. This is hey, this is what's going on. The anger arose quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And then the defense, well, no, because blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa.
I think I know who we're talking about now.
I think, yeah, exactly. I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm just telling you what's going on in the news right now.
All right. Well, before we get carried away, let's move on to something else.
Mandalorian.
There we go.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
The whole reason I'm even watching Clone Wars right now.
So, so the season 1 has ended.
Yes, it has.
Fantastic.
Ended on a great
with a slightly longer episode.
Was it? I didn't time
Slightly,
it.
like about, let's say 5 minutes maybe.
Hey, still,
Yeah.
I'll take an extra 5 minutes.
Yes, I settled for that as well. No, okay, so of the 8 episodes,
because you got to choose how long the episodes were. Yeah, okay.
Oh, excuse me, I settled for that.
of the 8 episodes, I loved.
I'm a real fan.
Of the 8 episodes, I loved all but. Is episode 6 the Tatooine episode? No, episode 5.
Why
Is
not?
episode 6 the one where they're trying to break out of the prison?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, yeah.
Prison ship.
Yeah, so of the 8 episodes, I loved all of them but 5. And really, it's just that one character that I just could not stand that kind of killed the episode
get
for
it.
me. Yeah. But let's talk about the finale, the big episode. You know, Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring shows up as Grand Moff Gideon, which is, you know, like, other than Tarkin, how many other Moffs do we have in actual as known characters in Star Wars canon?
And
Moff
what
Eisley?
exactly?
What did you say, Nick?
Oh, sorry, we talked over each other.
I heard yours. I thought that was great. Moff Eisley.
Yeah.
That'd make a good user tag too.
How many Moffs are there? And it is MOFF, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inconceivable!
But this apparently like really dark, badass, like,
And what
evil,
level is that on the
like
the leadership level?
like
ranks?
villain, right? Because he was killing people just for interrupting. He was killing his own men just for interrupting them.
Supposedly, according to
Jason Sudeikis.
Jay Sudeikis and Adam Pally,
Yeah.
which I picked up immediately. I go, oh, you got to be kidding
Oh,
me.
people were furious when he hit Baby Yoda.
Oh,
They were furious. How dare he?
There are people that are still pissed at Bruce Dern for shooting John Wayne in the back. So
I'll believe it.
I understand.
I once had a conversation with
I'm
a.
gonna tell Sudeikis if I ever see him. You son of a bitch!
I once had a conversation with an.
This is for Baby Yoda.
I once had a conversation with an adult male. He was a young adult male, but legally an adult male, who asked me one time who I thought was the better fighter, Jet Li or Chow Yun-Fat, and I said, wait, say that again? He goes, who do you think is the better fighter? And I was like, I've never seen either of them fight before. He goes, you've never seen their movies? No, I've seen a bunch of their movies. So yeah, I'm like, but they're not actually fighting. They're, what do you mean? I went, you're aware that these are not actual fights in movies. He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, he's not.
Like, all right, sit down, Sparky.
He
I
thinks
got some news.
these are actual fights, you know. But some people can't
pee on
separate
my
that.
chest and tell me it's rain.
When The Departed came out, someone actually told me, like, well, I don't want to see it. I'm like, why not? Well, because DiCaprio's in it. I'm like, yeah, no, I saw the movie. Well, DiCaprio can't play a tough guy. Well, why not? Well, he's not a tough guy. I'm like, well, A, I don't know that. And B, he's like, you know, this is acting, right? These guys aren't really tough guys. Most of these guys aren't really tough guys in real life, you know?
I'm an actor. Theater.
But no, so Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon.
This awesome villain, which apparently the only kind of villain that Giancarlo Esposito can play. Gus Fring, man, one of the greatest villains in television history, and this is basically just Gus Fring in space. Shows up on an awesome TIE fighter where the wings fold as he lands. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. Like, I want one. I want a toy with a TIE fighter toy with the folding wings. You know, awesome action, awesome shoot. You know, they're still in the middle of that standoff, right? You know, where we left off at the end of episode 7. They get away on a lava river, man.
Yep. Across the river Styx.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And then we got the Chekhov's gun that was IG-11 with the self-destruct.
An R2 unit with legs and arms.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was really cool too.
That was weird looking.
Yeah.
Though.
But no, we got the fulfillment of Chekhov's gun in episode 1. Right. IG-88 is about to self-destruct, and he keeps saying, "No, do not self-destruct." We got that payoff there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Killing a bunch of stormtroopers in the process. But the money. Well, no, I'll take it back. We got the other Chekhov's gun from I believe episode 3 when Mando looks out at the dude with the jetpack, goes, "I get me one of those."
Oh yeah.
And then he gets him one of those.
Yeah.
He flies away. Thus, I believe, becoming a complete Mandalorian, because what our basis for Mandalorian is Boba Fett, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now he's got a jetpack, so cool. And thus, further cementing my statement that he is way cooler than Boba Fett.
And he also got his
signet.
Yep.
which was I had to look at it a bunch of times before I realized it was a mud horn.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what is this and what is it? I was thinking in my head that she was going to put Baby Yoda on there somewhere. And now the confirmation, no, he is bonded to this child. This is now a thing.
Yep.
You can't get rid of him. You can't pawn him off.
Youngling.
This youngling is you are until you can reunite him with his people. You are his father.
Yep.
Which is cool because it's essentially this is Star Wars version of Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
And it should be, and that relationship should not ever end. I mean, it would have to end at some point naturally, but I mean, as far as we're concerned, the viewer, like, I don't want to see him without Baby Yoda now, right? They are essentially one and the same now to me. But the money shot of the episode is the very final scene. You think that Moff Gideon is dead because his TIE fighter goes down.
No, I didn't think he was dead.
Well, those of us who remember him from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, they try to make you think of he's dead.
But those of us who remember him from Breaking Bad, the explosion, and he walks out, and you're thinking, there's no way he survived that. And then he turned out he didn't. This is like the opposite of that. You're like thinking, there's no way he's still alive. And he's still alive. But
until you see the dead body, they're not dead.
But Darksaber blade protrudes from that TIE fighter.
I freaked out.
Cuts a hole.
Because when I heard it, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, is that when I saw the blade come out? I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, he has the dark blade.
And
Dark saber.
You know what else is cool about all this? Earlier we were talking about leaks and how a lot of things leak. There was no Mandalorian leaks at all.
No.
Whatsoever. None.
Because they did everything they could to not let it get out, including not letting them make merchandise. Which ticked them off, but...
Oh, yeah, CNBC had an article about how they potentially lost upwards of $2 million because there was no baby merchandise.
A whole $2 million?
Yeah.
Or do you mean $2 billion?
No, it's the CNBC article said $2.7 million.
Well, that's nothing.
Yeah.
In merch, that's like a day of sales.
Especially since they already have stuff now at the parks.
But CNBC needs
only
the clicks.
T-shirts.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, shirts, they all have the same image, so you'll see that same image anywhere that has licensed stuff.
Yeah. But CNBC needs those clicks, though. They need people to read those articles. So, Mandalorian loses Disney millions of dollars. Click. Although I didn't click. There was a Looper video, and then the comments, it was the full article, and I was like, oh, cool.
But yeah, when I saw the dark saber come out, I freaked out.
Yeah. Because again, I go, that's black. Is that supposed to happen? What's going on right now?
So
this is kind of big.
So I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I just recently started watching Clone Wars. I never watched Clone Wars before. I'm very anti prequels. That's why I never bothered to watch Clone Wars. People would tell me over the years how great it was, and I would go, but prequels. And I've been leaning towards this direction for a while now. Like the last year or so, I've been really kind of leaning. Basically, I saw it's Rebels actually, but I saw the Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight scene in Rebels, and I was like, okay, well now I have to watch these cartoons.
Yeah.
And with Disney Plus, it's now it's accessible because for a while, Clone Wars wasn't streaming. It was on Netflix for a little bit, but then it was like, oh hey, the DVDs are expensive, so shoots down that idea. But this was now the final push. I saw the Darksaber. I knew of the Darksaber. Didn't know much about it. I knew it was a big deal, but I see that and I went, okay, now I'm gonna start watching Clone Wars. I have since started, and I really enjoy it.
And there was an article that came out today. I think it might have been on Gizmodo or IO9 that has on there, here's the animated episodes you should watch if you're interested in why this was important at the end of Mandalorian. But I would suggest
watching the whole thing. Yeah, which is my intention.
But yeah, no, I freaked out when I saw that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because I wanted to find out how he got that.
Well, I mean, apparently, because you were saying it's one of a kind.
Yes,
it's not like lightsabers. There's a bunch of them. There's just the one Darksaber.
Yeah, it was made by the only Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah, and
ages ago.
It's ancient.
Yeah.
So big deal. A lot of history there. And it makes sense considering Dave Filoni was heavily involved in this show.
Right.
It makes sense
that
something from Clone Wars would pop up. Yeah. But it's weird. Now earlier I was talking about makes you wonder why no one asked Dave Filoni to be more involved in the movies because of his essentially his helping create a lot of major Star Wars lore through the Clone Wars. But now that I'm watching the Clone Wars, I'm really watching Mandalorian. Watching the Clone Wars, I'm thinking Clone Wars is essentially what I've been wanting out of these movies. And I mean, again, I hate the prequels. I really do. But Clone Wars is the Star Wars that I've really been wanting this whole time.
Yeah, because like I said, when I first started watching it, it took me a couple of episodes. I really liked the movie that they put out. And then it took me a few episodes to get into the series. But then as I did, then I realized, okay, this really isn't a kid's show.
It's not. It's a lot darker than I thought this cartoon
it has some really dark moments in it.
Yeah, very violent.
Yeah.
With even actual like flesh and blood characters getting stabbed and whatnot and shot, and then all the stuff like the clone troopers that are actually used as fodder.
Right.
Like they straight up die. Like lots of them die, and I'm just barely starting this too. But I mean that's kind of looking back. I mean a lot of like kids cartoons that like I grew up with are not really things I would show kids now.
Right.
Well, I mean. Rugrats had some pretty kind of questionable moments. Ren and Stimpy was like never should have been shown to kids ever.
There's a few shows on different channels that were
Pee-wee's
Playhouse.
on
certain channels.
Pee-wee's Playhouse was highly inappropriate for kids, but kids didn't get those jokes, so it didn't really matter.
Though.
Oh, I loved it. But as watching an adult, I was like shocked. My parents let me watch this. Oh my god, this is on Saturday mornings, man. But we're getting the follow up season for Mandalorian in the fall,
right?
And I'm thinking Clone Wars will help tide me over until then.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get a new season of Clone Wars too,
right?
But there's another moment in the episode that I think is totally worth talking about because I don't quite know how I feel about it, and not the actual event, but we get to see Mando's face, right?
Right.
Now, I personally thought, okay, take off the helmet. IG-11 is not a living creature. It totally works, right? Totally works. But I would have preferred it they cut away so that because we are living creatures, right? Now, we've seen his face.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about
it's
that.
Not real, right?
No, I know, but it's like I think it would have been more impactful.
You complained earlier about
I just think it'd be more impactful if
now
it's
you're
still cut
upset
away
because we're watching his face.
Well, I mean,
and you should know
not
that.
upset. I just thought the better move to have made would have been to cut away.
This is 1920s Hollywood where they're cutting away so that it would seem more scary than it really is.
It's not stealing your soul.
Well, no, I'm going somewhere with this. Now. I don't know the answer to this because I'm still just now starting the Clone Wars, but the Mandalorian creed is that no living person is to see their face, and yet all the other Mandalorians I've seen so far, I've seen their faces have been seen by other characters. So when did that become a thing? Is that talked about in the Clone Wars?
I don't remember.
Is it something that's introduced in the Mandalorian?
I guess
because I mean he was the only one that I've seen it. I mean like
because you've seen
Sabine
Jango.
Wren, I've seen her face, and I've seen her face as looked upon by other characters, and I haven't even seen those episodes yet. Jango, we mentioned Jango, although now apparently there's like articles out there about why Boba Fett wasn't a real Mandalorian.
Both he and Jango apparently weren't Mandalorians. They weren't raised by them. They basically got the armor.
Okay, so that would explain that part. But
that's
Sabine,
why it's Mandalorian armor.
Yeah,
they're just not Mandalorians.
But Sabine Wren's an actual Mandalorian, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and again, I've seen clips and shots, like still screenshots where like other characters are looking at her, completely bare face, and so I'm like,
well, one of the things you do learn about her in Rebels is that she left them behind.
Okay.
She left for a reason.
Yeah.
So, but then, yeah. So.
And then there's a female comedian.
Reasons.
There's a female comedian who now she's actually I think one of the brighter spots on Twitter, has been making a lot of jokes about the Mandalorian's like, the physicality of his potential sex life because he can't take off the mask.
Right.
And I've really been enjoying those tweets because she's really funny. Danny Fernandez, who I guess she just sold a show to HBO.
Huh.
Really funny writer. But or at least her tweets are funny. That's all I can really vouch for. Her tweets are awesome. One of the, I think the better people on Twitter. Because Twitter sucks right now.
Dropping sweet tweets.
But so we get to see his face in a very major moment. He's dying, wants to be left behind, which makes sense because he literally would have just slowed them down, and they needed to hurry out of there. But that action sequence of the shootout with the stormtroopers, it's prefaced in the very beginning by establishing the stormtroopers cannot shoot things that are just dead there right in front of them, let alone moving targets. So I started thinking, they could totally get out of this with a shootout right here. And doesn't like the Mandalorian actually picks up that cannon.
Yeah.
And it's just starting. I'm like, oh yes, that is awesome. This is awesome.
And apparently the biker scouts were based on Tag and Bink.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
They were. I was reading. They actually had a scene in the Last Jedi, and it was cut out.
Oh, really?
I think it was the last. It was one of the first two movies. It was either Force Awakens or I want to say Last Jedi, but their scenes were cut out. And I forget who was playing them, but it was comedic actors. It was,
right.
it was a small cameo. What a satisfying ending.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that they took off his helmet. It was early enough to reveal himself to where it's not a mystery for the audience to want that. It's like, okay, we've done this now, so you now seen him, so don't worry about that anymore. Concentrate now on what he's doing.
People would have complained that you had Pedro Pascal for 8 episodes and didn't show his face. But it's like someone who's a big fan of like Judge Dredd. Like that's a big like Dredd's never seen. Like, even like in the movie Dredd that that everyone claims I didn't know it was out, but the commercials are everywhere. They just decided not to go see it, and therefore the movie flopped. But you see him put on the mask, but you never see his face. And I thought that was a really nice touch. That never seen his face. I'm not the biggest of Halo fans, but kind of the same principle. You never see what Master Chief actually looks like, and that kind of stuff is all like, I think really cool. And so I just kind of thought, in those kind of contexts, it would have been cooler if we didn't actually see his face, but you would have had the people who were in love with Pedro Pascal. He's very handsome, man. I get it. I'm a big fan of his too. Not for his looks, because but he's a fantastic actor, and I get the love for him. And yeah, people would have been upset had they not. Me personally, I would like the better.
I've always been hoping to get more of his Spanish accent when he talks.
Oh, you mean kind of like Oberyn Martell?
Yeah.
Because
when he starts talking in the Mandalorian, he's like, I gotta remember. Oh yeah, it's the Red Viper.
But now that Mandalorian's over, I'm telling myself I should probably go back and finish Narcos. For more Pedro Pascal, watch Narcos, and a bunch of other stuff because he's in a lot, and he's really good. He's a terrific actor. I love him. But the Darksaber, man, like that was some deep dive Star Wars lore there, and again it was unexpected. I didn't see that coming at all.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Jesse. We went on a little too long. To be fair, I didn't have a lot of favorite things of 2019. So. It was a terrible year.
There was
That's
very
great,
few
Nick.
things.
It's a very good way to speak out of context to the audience that has no idea what we're talking about.
I think they've come to expect that from me at this point.
That doesn't mean that they like it.
If you don't like it, tweet at me at Nick Black. Nick_Black. Sorry.
We know how much you love Twitter from this episode.
I will respond to those tweets.
Can cut it
and only those tweets.
Can cut it a half hour of this episode. The other bright spot over the holidays, television-wise, Eddie Murphy returned to Saturday Night Live.
Oh, my God.
And did he ever?
There were 3 moments in the episode where I laughed so hard I couldn't breathe.
It was, I think one of you mentioned it, that you hadn't laughed that hard at an SNL in a long time.
In years, years.
Yeah,
I actually stopped watching it a couple
me.
years back. It lost its flavor. I mean, I've been watching SNL my entire life. I used to watch it with my parents like back in like 86, 87, I remember when like Phil Hartman joined the cast. I remember when Robert Downey Jr. was a cast member.
I do too.
Yeah.
But the last few years, it just got really stale for me, And I mean, it wasn't the first time. I didn't like SNL in like the 95, 96, 97. Basically until like Will Ferrell joined. When like Adam Sandler left and Will Ferrell joined, that period of time I thought was pretty bad.
Well, this is the other thing about this episode too, with Eddie on it, is that this is the first time that I can remember where none of the guest hosts' sketches fell flat.
Yeah, totally.
Because normally there's at least one sketch with the host in it that just really falls flat. That just doesn't work. This one, even the ones that were with non-established characters of his, I thought were great.
Well, I think a big part of it was he has been on the show in like 35 years, and it looked like he hadn't lost a single step.
Yeah.
It was smooth.
It was smooth. You could tell he was having fun,
Mm-hmm.
And he jumped right into it. There was no hesitation whatsoever in his sketches. I mean, once he put on the costumes for whatever character he was playing, he was committed.
And they also let him really be the star of pretty much every sketch, because there are times where you have like hosts on there and they're like barely featured, Well, I get it. Sometimes they're just not. It's not working. They're not funny. Blah blah blah.
Well,
but
it's also the way the show is. I think.
Yeah.
For some of the hosts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They're not set up for that sort of thing where it's kind of it's both. What's the word?
I don't know. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I think we've covered this. We don't know.
One of life's great mysteries.
It's a mystery.
But I mean, those of you listening, my sister Barbara the Dark, and you can ask her because we were watching it together. The moment that Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood popped up, I started freaking out. Right during the Masked Singer skit. As soon as I heard that voice, I just Buckwheat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Buckwheat.
It was the perfect way to incorporate him too.
Yeah.
And he left the show when I was born, but I used to, as like early child, I would watch like constant reruns of SNL. So even though it was already, technically before my time, I was watching Eddie Murphy episodes like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like absolutely like crazy. And, we talked about it leading up to this, like the only major character of his that they didn't do was, James Brown's Hot Tub.
Right.
Yeah.
But we got to see Gumby. We got to see Velvet Jones.
That was the one
weakest.
That was the weakest. It didn't fall flat, but it was the weakest.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because it worked, and he was still funny, but it wasn't as strong as the others. But it wasn't one of those where you're just like, meh. I still enjoyed seeing it.
The highlight for me, though, I think was definitely his opening monologue, though.
Yeah.
The sparked some controversy with a certain
well,
certain inmate.
I don't even think it was real controversy.
Oh, I just meant with him, that one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spokesperson for Cosby.
But when you commit heinous crimes, you don't really have room to complain about other people making fun of you.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy had a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Who would have thought Bill Cosby would be in jail and Eddie Murphy's this wholesome stay-at-home dad?
Yep.
But having Chappelle come out, Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan, it just like, and then at the end, Keenan, it just.
I know that some people, again, because the internet were upset because they thought that he should have had on like every black performer that had ever been on the show. And that's not why he had them on. Keenan, because he's on the show right now.
Yeah.
But those other guys are because they have specifically said Eddie Murphy is the reason I got into comedy. He's the reason I got into stand-up. And have credited him for that. And that's why he had them on. Because the controversy, or I shouldn't say the controversy around it, the people that were complaining about it, it's like, okay, you do know that Chappelle was never a cast member.
No,
right?
but he literally was like this past generation's Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah, no, totally was. But I'm saying people are like, oh, you should have had all these other cast members. I was like, yeah, Chappelle wasn't a cast member.
Yeah, he wasn't.
That's not what this was about.
Yeah, totally. And, Chris Rock, I think, said it best. He first year, he was told he was going to be next Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. But
reality sets in.
But I can't wait for him to do stand up now. Like that was something like he hadn't done it in a long time. There's naturally a concern. Like you've been out of the game for a long time.
Does he still have the chops? Does he still have the timing?
Yeah.
And that opening monologue, all I thought was, oh man,
yeah, I was
this isn't just better than I thought it was going to be. This is fantastic.
And not only that, but it also was one of those things where it wasn't big stand-up material. It was just one of those, I'm ready to hear him say more.
Yeah.
And so, but also it gives me hope as well for the sequel to Coming to America.
One of my favorite movies
that
of
if
all
he was
time.
that if he was this committed to doing these characters again in sketch form, does that mean that that's the commitment we're going to see now in Coming to America too? So I'm excited.
I hope so. Well, because even like you look at that context of that movie, Arsenio's coming back, right?
Yeah.
Now, this isn't quite the same, but when Arsenio got his talk show back, it was literally just like the old one. Kind of the same thing. Like, I mean,
I never watched it when he came back.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, whether you like it or not, because not everyone liked it. I did, but it was exactly the same. It was just like watching the original show all over again.
Because when his first one was on the air, I loved it.
And it was the same thing. He looked like, it was like he hadn't missed a single step.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, and so it definitely gives me hope. Now, who knows, you know, by the time the movie comes out, we could be like, oh, man, they might have been good on television again, but maybe not
right.
movies. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Maybe
I mean,
we shouldn't remake certain movies.
Oh, yeah, but
Prevent sequels for.
Until we see a trailer, at least, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful.
Right.
And I'm excited, frankly.
As am I.
Yeah. And how often do you got listeners? How often do you hear that coming out of my mouth? Huh? Because Nick hates everything.
It's supposed to what, this summer?
Is it this summer? I haven't looked at the date.
know.
What, Coming to America?
Yeah.
No, I think it's December.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm fine with that.
I think it's a late release.
Okay.
But
that would make sense because they just finished filming.
Yeah. And you don't want to be competing with.
Oh no!
Wait, what major blockbusters are coming out this year? Maybe you do want to compete with those.
It's like the remake of the '80s this year is because we got
Ghostbusters.
We got Ghostbusters. We got Bill and Ted. We got Coming to America. We've got Top Gun, and there's another one.
But like no like major Marvel movie. I mean, Black Widow's coming out, but
Wonder Woman 84.
Wonder Woman 84. So and that doesn't really seem like it's that crowded of a summer box office, to be honest with you, or not compared to recent years. I should say.
This past year and now this year, it doesn't look like it's very going to be a big summer blockbuster. Type thing where it was like every month had a major picture you had to go see.
So maybe a movie like that could take a chance in the summertime. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure.
I mean, so you want to do more in post, though, for sure, definitely. But I'm excited for it. And there's not a lot of movies this year I'm excited for.
I'm ready for Ghost, Top Gear 2.
Ghostbusters looks fantastic.
No, and Top Gun, Goose is back.
I actually talked to and Top Gun looks great.
Yeah.
For the first time, I was able to watch a trailer on Snapchat. They showed you the trailer, and they wanted people to like snap their reactions to the trailer. And when I was like,
was it for Top Gun?
Top Gun, yeah. And then there was another movie recently that did it like a few days ago.
Did you bite your teeth like Iceman?
No, I did not.
Did you take your shirt off and play with the boys? Play some volleyball?
No, I did not. I don't own a pair of shorts that short.
Oh.
Well, but they're wearing jeans.
Yeah.
Jean shorts.
In the first movie.
Yeah.
Not jean shorts. No, they're in jeans.
They're
cut off jeans.
Blue jeans.
No, they're not cut off jeans. They're
in blue jeans.
Like
the
pants.
volleyball scene?
Yeah.
They are in their long-legged pants.
Then the TV versions I've been watching over the years are
Levi's.
much a different cut because what I've seen in recent years they're in shorts.
There's no different cut.
They're
you
in like
just aren't
short
paying
shorts.
attention. They're in jeans.
Yeah. I don't know. Look it up.
Don't look it up. Just take our word for it.
There's even that SNL skit where Bill Hader is doing a Harvey Fierstein rehearsing or auditioning for Top Gun, and his whole line is, "This isn't a gay movie. They're playing volleyball in jean shorts."
There's no shorts.
Here we go. Dead air.
Well, you guys can talk. I'm looking this up.
But so speaking of Top Gun, so I mean, I'm excited for it, and I'm impressed that they're topping, the dogfight footage from the first movie, which obviously they had to, and with new technology they can. But this looks great.
Yeah, so far it does. I'm assuming Goose's son is going to be in this.
Sure.
I'm assuming. Then we're going to have Iceman and
he's called
Jokers.
Duck. He's called Duck.
Duck.
Especially with the window.
I see what you did there.
For the record, someone's wearing sweatpants.
Oh, jeez.
Swear to God.
Can't be wrong, can it?
They weren't all wearing jeans. Somebody was wearing
I'm not
sweatpants.
always right, but I'm never wrong.
But I'm going to go on Reddit next, and I'm going to tell everybody.
2, there is a single character wearing shorts.
Oh, is there? Okay.
They are not jean shorts.
Yes, but it wasn't one of the big four, was it?
Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer are wearing long-legged jeans, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen...
Because playing with the boys.
But I have... No. So over the years, I've only actually watched Top Gun on television, and I actually have seen with my own eyes a scene where they're all wearing jean shorts. And again, there's that SNL skit
I
where...
can tell you right now that you haven't. You just think that you have.
But why would I think that I have?
Berenstein Bears.
There's a lot of things that you think that aren't right.
But again, there's that SNL
Berenstein
skit
Bears.
where Harvey Fierstein actually said they're playing. You're telling me this isn't a gay movie? They're playing volleyball in jean shorts.
Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. The Mandela effect thing?
Yes.
You think I'm having the Mandela
Yes,
effect?
you
thing with
are.
blah, blah, blah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yabs. Because we're telling you, we have two of us that have grown up on this movie that are telling you there is no version where they are all wearing shorts.
Well, I also grew up in this movie, just for the record.
Yeah.
But two, again, there is that SNL skit.
I understand that, but
It's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's
just
right.
so because he said it in a Saturday Night Live sketch, you believe it's true.
No, I've actually seen it with my eyes.
No, you haven't.
Yes.
We're telling you right now that you have not.
I think we need to do a little hindsight theater.
Well, no, again,
no
I'm talking
hindsight
about
theater.
a
We just need to
TV.
smack him upside the
no,
head.
Well,
You guys know that there are like specific TV edits of various movies out there, right?
understand
Where
that.
they include
Yes.
different alternate
And
scenes
you know
and takes.
and you know what? If they were editing that movie, they would put pants on them, not shorts.
Depends on the channel.
no.
You're telling me the logo version?
I'm
of
ready to
it-
go home. I'm done. Swear to God. 2021, come quickly. Good
Please,
Lord.
because I already hate 2020.
Are you too now?
Speaking of the Mandela effect, did I
Oh,
tell you guys?
geez, here
no,
we
no,
go.
hold
Oh,
on.
my
Needs
goodness.
now
Did I tell you guys that
is
like
love.
I was
Probably.
convinced that John Amos was dead? It was actually I was talking to someone about everyone coming back for coming to America, and I was like, well, everyone's coming back except for
I
John
thought
Amos.
Cher
And
was
they're like,
dead.
Yeah, Cher was?
Yeah.
Just her career.
Hey!
Hey now.
But no, I was talking to
Wow.
someone about coming to America,
Do
and I
you
was like, well, everyone's coming back except for
believe
John
in
Amos.
life
And like, why isn't he
after
coming back? And well, because John Amos is dead. They're like, no, he's not. And I'm like, yeah, he is. He died a couple years ago. Like, no, he's not. I'm like, yeah, I'll show it. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, damn, I actually watched The Ranch.
See, I don't think that's the Mandela effect. That's just you being wrong. The
Well,
Mandela
no.
effect is that, like, a consciousness of people believe a certain thing, and it didn't happen.
Okay, well, so specifically, I had seen a news story a couple years ago that said John Amos had died, but that's not
I mean,
unheard
John
of.
Amos?
John Amos. Did I say John Stamos?
I thought you said John Stamos.
I was talking about John Amos.
Well, they're both alive.
Yeah, they are both alive. But I had seen a news story about it. But there are other celebrities I had seen news stories
David
about. I don't
Keith-
mean like
Keith
internet
David.
news stories. I mean like on TV news stories, and turned out to be not be true. Jack
There seems to
Palance,
be no sign of
I thought was dead
intelligent
2
life.
years before he actually died because KSBW ran a story about him passing away 2 years prior. But I was convinced he was, and he's alive and well to this day. Unless something happened today that I don't know about.
Jack Palance?
No, John Amos.
Oh.
Yeah. But I realized, oh, dude, I actually watched the show he's on right now. How did I forget he's even on that show?
Was that with Florida Evans? Or
Florida Evans?
what the hell is their name? Florida somebody?
Talk about Good Times?
Yeah.
Good times, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Uh-huh.
No, but he's on a show. He's on a show that's active. Like he's on,
Damn!
no, he's on a Netflix show now though. But I had seen a news story from a couple years back that he had passed away.
I think that was just for me.
Oh, okay.
I got it. My old roommate, Ed, who we've had on the show before, we were roommates. We desperately wanted to find that painting from Good Times.
Oh, really?
We'd really tried hard to find that painting because we wanted it on our apartment wall. It's just for us. Maybe one other person listening to this, watching. Oh God, 2021, take me away.
No, so you want to get into some deep nerdom?
Oh sure, because we haven't yet today.
Well, I'll go deeper than normal. I own a copy of, as far as I know, the only sci-fi movie starring Mark Hamill and J.J. Walker, and they both got top billing, even though they are just supporting characters.
Are they wearing jean shorts?
No, they are not. And J.J. Walker actually transforms into a monster, and he still says, as a monster, says "Dynamite,"
Well,
because
of
it's
course.
J.J. Walker, and you just couldn't do that, right? You couldn't not have him say that. But it's called The Guyver. It is an American-made film based on a Japanese comic book and cartoon, with J.J. Walker and Mark Hamill in feature roles, and the lead actors are nobodies. But Mark Hamill gets top billing because he's Mark Hamill.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Now that is some deep nerddom. Not quite as hardcore as the Robot Ninja.
It was something. I don't
Well,
know
we
what
were
it
going to
was,
interview
but it was
we were going to
something.
interview the director that one
yeah,
time,
that's
and
right.
we just never followed through on it.
Yeah, you didn't fall through on it.
Well, we couldn't get the phone thing to work at
Oh,
first,
that's right.
and then once we were able to, I forgot all about it.
Yeah, that's
I can
right.
still reach out.
That's just because I.
It's
drink.
on Blu-ray now. I think Arrow Video or something put it on Blu-ray.
Really?
And one of those, like, Robot Ninja's out on Blu-ray now.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. For a while, I couldn't even find a trailer on YouTube in English, and now it's on Blu-ray. It's a very hardcore, esoteric movie.
Well, we'll say that it's because of the show.
Yes. I helped bring it back.
On that note, let's get out of here.
All right.
We've had a long show.
Let's
I might
make like a
I might
tree.
break this up into 2 parts.
Yeah, we've been recording for like 2.5 hours.
It's time to make like a tree and get the hell out of here.
All right. Okay. So, if you have found us for the first time, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. That includes iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and now Google Podcasts as well.
Yay.
Hooray. Follow us on the social medias
We're like
at
famous.
Oh My Geek Podcast. Wherever you want to get in touch with us, just don't yell at us because there's enough of that. You can
I
send
will
us
yell back.
Or yell on Twitter, because I'm probably not going to look anymore.
You can send us a message, show at omgeekshow.com. But that is it. So, on behalf of the Oh My Geeks, this is Jesse.
This is Nick.
This is Nick.
And we will talk to you kiddies later. Bye, everybody.
Dude, I'm not gonna cave in. End of story, dude. 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 Well, I guess you've got a point there.